In this video, we will show you how to use the net effective rent calculator available at Hauseit.com. The purpose of the calculator is to help understand the difference between gross rent and net effective rent when it comes to a rental property. As you may notice when you search for listings online, oftentimes you see a relatively low rent, and if you read the description, you'll then hear that they're actually putting the net effective rent on the listing instead of the gross rent. So this calculator helps you cut to the chase and figure out what the actual rent will be. And if it may be helpful for us just to go over quickly, the gross rent is what your actual rent will be on the lease contract. So if the gross rent is $8,500 a month, you will be paying $8,500 a month for the months where you have to pay the rent. Now, the reason why net effective rent is lower than gross rent is because usually landlords offer, say, a month free or half a month free or something whereby you don't pay for a particular month or some period of time. So if you redo the monthly average of the rent that you'll pay over the term of the lease, it's going to be lower than the gross rent. But just to be clear, even if the net effective rent is lower than the gross rent, for the months where you're not receiving a landlord concession, you are going to be paying cash flow wise the full gross rent. So let's look at a couple examples. Here we have a unit in Prospect Heights out in Brooklyn, and you'll see that the rent is $48.63. Now, customarily, whenever we see a listing that has a very unusual number for the rent, something that's not 500 or 750 or 600 or 1,000, it is a possible indication that there's some sort of landlord concession going on, and you might be seeing the net effective rent. Here's another example, $7,791 a month. Again, a very, very unusual number, which means it almost surely is a net effective rent instead of a gross rent. So going back to the first example, if we scroll down here, we're going to see immediately currently offering 2 months free on leases starting before January 15th. If we go further down, it will tell us that the listed rent is net effective rent based on a gross rent of $58.35 and 2 months free. So let's use the calculator to get from $58.35 to $48.63. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the gross rent of $58.35. We're going to put a lease term of 12 months. And in this case, they've mentioned that there are 2 months free. So we can put 2 for the number of free months. And as you'll see here, it's giving us a net effective rent of $48.62, $48.63 if you round up, and $48.63 is the rent on the listing. So clearly that is the net effective rent. If you'd like, we can do another example. Let's take a look at this unit. This is a rental building in the Lower East Side, the garment district, former garment district of LES, the Lower East Side. So in this case, if we look down towards the bottom, again, we see a disclaimer here. Price is net effective with 1 month free on an 18-month lease. So the other thing they would say here is half month free for every 6 months the tenants sign on for. So in this case, let's put the gross rent in the calculator, $8,500. And in this case, why don't we do we could do an 18-month lease, or we could do a 24-month lease. If we do an 18-month lease, we're going to put 1 month free. And if we do a 24-month lease, we're going to put 1.5 months free because they're giving an extra half month for every 6 months. So let's just start with an 18-month lease and 1 free month. And you'll see here that the net effective rent is technically $8,028. So believe it or not, this listing, this advertised price is actually incorrect. And it is possible that when they did this listing originally, maybe they were more desperate on the landlord side, and perhaps they were giving 1 free month for every 12 months of a lease term. Because if we use that as the lease term, we're getting that 7792 figure that we're seeing right here, or 7791. So clearly in this case, this is a buyer beware situation, because the actual rent is literally wrong on the listing. So the calculator can help you cut to the chase, figure out what's going on here. But just to reiterate, if we go back to this listing here, which is correct, the average rent you would pay over the term of the lease is $4,863 a month. But what it really means is you would actually pay $5,835 a month for 10 months, and then in the final 2 months, you would not have any rent to pay at all. So in the lease contract itself, it will say $5,835. It probably will not even mention $4,863. And then when it comes to a renewal of the lease, in theory, the increase or any increase in the rent should and really will probably be based on the gross rent. So it's just something for you to keep in mind. But the truth is that if the net effective rent is lower than the gross rent, you actually are saving money, notwithstanding the fact that the renewal is probably based on the higher rate, and the fact that you're paying a higher cash flow amount for some of the months. You still do save money on average if the landlord is offering some form of a concession. So going back into the calculator, on the right hand side here, it actually helps show you the breakdown of the calculations. So it tells you the annual net effective rent, and also it will tell you the net effective rent on a monthly and annual basis, including fees. So if we add, for example, a broker fee, which can be up to 15% in some cases, you can see that the net effective rent on a monthly basis goes from $7,791 to $9,066. So the rent literally goes up by over $1,000 a month. So there is one way for you to reduce your rental broker fee. You can request a rental broker fee credit. So if you are interested in learning more about that, feel free to click the link here or go to the rentals tab and click on rental broker fee rebate. If you have any questions about the calculator, leave us a comment below. We hope it's helpful, and we wish you the best of luck as you navigate what can be at times very difficult and confusing and challenging rental markets out there in the city, especially in New York City.